Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's start us off. So Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the first Exploring the Basics Research and Introduction session today. This content of this particular session is going to be extremely high yield. Everything that I'm about to share with you is going to be complete. It's going to help you write an article literally after the session immediately if you're extremely motivated and stuff. Okay, so let's just move on to the next slide because I need to make a few announcements, and of course I need to show you some stuff. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Next slide. Asha. Sabse pehle, a huge and special thanks to Medangle for helping make this session possible. Medangle has been there with you from day one. Literally, आपके launch session में भी था, आपके Dow का आपको is going to guide you throughout the entire Dow process, and premedical.pk of course, and Medangle itself, and MBBS and whatnot. And today they have thankfully given us an access to their Zoom Pro link, and that is why this session is possible. Without them, ये Zoom का session नहीं हो सकता था. This research session would not exist. So thank you so much to Medangle, and of course all the admins that are here as well who are a part of Medangle. And yeah, let's move on to the next slide, and I'm going to cover what is the exact agenda of this particular session. Okay. So the main stuff that I'm going to be discussing is सबसे पहले introduction होगी भाई research होता क्या है, why are we exactly doing this, what is the purpose of this particular session. So again research करने लोग सुनते हैं भाई MBBS में आके कि भाई research आपको करनी है, publications चाहिए, ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, नहीं करोगे तो अच्छा नहीं होगा. Why, what, क्यों. I'm going to exactly talk about the 5 W's. ठीक है, exactly what, why, when and what. सब कुछ सिखाऊंगा मैं आपको. Then we're going to have a research classification, a broad overview of क्या research आते हैं, what are different types of research, and this particular session is highly focused on the very basic one, and the basic one मतलब not cross section, sorry, LTEs, short communications, case reports, opinions, critiques, etc. Now what this session will not cover is that it will not cover cross-sectional studies and SPSS. That is not the goal of this, and not the scope of this particular session. Okay, if this session works out, we might do it in the future, maybe, but for now this is a very basic one. Okay, after the research classification, we're going to have a look at the formats and the basic article types. Kya hote hain. Okay, I'm going to discuss the major 3 ones that you can start literally right now after the session. There is not an issue on that. And then after that, I'm going to look towards examples, live examples that have been sent by your seniors and are published in PubMed indexed journals. Okay? So that is something I'm going to show you. Then we're going to look at what is PubMed and what are like these literature review web searches, websites. I'm going to show you that. And then of course, what are journals ki basics and stuff. Then I'm going to show you, then we're going to have a live session, live tutorial on what is referencing, कैसे आप पूरा manuscript लिखते हैं और उसके अंदर referencing क्या होती है, and then I'm going to explain the publication process. I hope that is clear. TK, again, I'm not going to show cross-sectional studies or SPSS. I'm not going to be covering meta-analysis or systematic reviews. That is not the agenda of this particular webinar. Okay, moving onwards, TK. So what is medical research and why do it? This is the introduction, TK. So very basically, we already know Dow, well, not even Dow, if you go to any university, literally not, this is not specific to medical, this is genuinely spread out through across universities कि आपको कुछ researches करनी पड़ती हैं, आपको कुछ articles, thesis and publication चाहिए होते हैं. So how do you go about that? So सबसे पहले medical research is a systematic investigation of the causes and the prevention and treatment of diseases and of course health conditions or issues aate hain. That is something that we look after, that as a 2B physician, you got to look at the medical aspect of research. Okay? And of course aapko usme kya karna padta, you have to collect data, you need to look at journals, you need to look at papers, you need to include clinical trials, surveys, etc., and just produce a wholesome particular article. And in this case, we're going to look at more collectively overview of articles, basic articles, ताकि आपकी publication शुरू हो जाए. And the goal of our goal क्या है, ठीक है? So there are 2 goals primarily whenever you come to university in terms of getting research publications. आपके जब CV में लिखा होता है यार आपके इतने publications हैं, that is a huge CV booster, especially if you are a person who wants to go for international medical programs or residency programs, namely being USMLEs, PLAB, और इसके अलावा FCA अगर आप पाकिस्तान में locally भी करते हैं, ठीक है, आगे जाके PG, postgraduate and become a physician, you're gonna need something on your CV to distinguish you, to separate you, to make you unique from what the general public is doing. Although I do admit research within the past few years बहुत ही ज़्यादा common हो चुका है, ठीक है, and there's a high chance that everyone is doing it. So how do we make it unique? And that's what I'm going to exactly show you. Okay. So one more thing that I would like to point out is that research ki jo, as a medical student, as an MBBS student who is currently studying in a third world country, Pakistan mein padhne, theek hai, bahar mulk mein when you go to outside countries like US, UK, they don't expect us as undergraduate students to have a lot of research publications, especially high level ones, which I'm going to show you later on. Okay? So if you have this on your CV, that is literally the best thing. And yeah, pretty much. Asha, the reason I'm looking over here is because I have like two screens right now in front of me. Ek jagah presentation, ek jagah questions aayenge. So I'm going to be answering both of them. Asha, you can post your questions in the chat box. जितना भी करना हो कि दिल खोल के पूछ लेना. Some of the admins will answer you, and I will take some of the questions at the very end during the Q&A session. I hope that is understood. I hope you understand. Okay, so moving onwards. Okay, let me go to the next part. 1 second. Yep, इसको मैं यहाँ पे जरा shift कर लूँ. 1 second, please, guys. एक तरह error आ रहा है. Okay, 1 second. Huh. So moving towards the next part. Okay, we're going to look at the classification of research. Articles अलग अलग किस्म के होते हैं. There are different types of them. ठीक है, how do you find out कि आपको कौन सा करना है? And of course, in this session, we're going to focus more heavily on the basic ones. So I'm going to go to the next slide. And as you can see, I'm showing you a very interesting diagram. Sorry, I'm showing you a very interesting diagram right now. And this diagram is simply put going to this is a pyramid. Okay, and I'm going to exactly explain what this shows. So at the bottom, you can see एक पूरे जो pyramid का base है, वहाँ पे लिखा है background information and expert opinion, और सबसे ऊपर लिखा है meta analysis. So what does this show? When you move from bottom to like, अगर आप medical terms से याद करें, anatomic terms में inferiorly to superiorly करने के medical पर बहुत ज़्यादा anatomy पढ़ो, sorry, that's why I'm saying this. ठीक है? If you move from down to bottom to the top, this bottom to top direction shows the more weightage of these particular journals. मतलब इसका मतलब क्या? Background information and expert opinion जो नीचे लिखा हुआ है, those type of articles are less heavy and have a less weightage compared to meta analysis, जो कि ज़्यादा वो कहा जाता है, उसकी ज़्यादा importance रखी जाती है in the field of research. And inshallah, when you start off, you're going to start off at the very bottom. You're going to build your way towards from background information and expert opinions and LTEs and move to the top. So the scope of this webinar, as I already mentioned, is we're going to be showing you how to do LTEs and of course basic short communications and whatnot. So that comes under background information and expert opinions. Okay? Now, in this particular part, although it might be less of a weightage, उसके साथ कम हो इस level से कि weightage कम होगी and they're not going to be that highly appreciated compared to meta-analysis and whatnot. What I can guarantee is, as an undergraduate student of MBBS or any other field, if you get this done, this is going to be, and this comes up on your CV, it's going to show that you're really interested in doing research. And then when you work towards the top, towards the more difficult ones, तो आपके लिए ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा. So I'm going to classify two things. As you can see, this diagram में मैंने show क्या है, filtered information and unfiltered information. In a very broad aspect or a very brief overview aspect of this particular pyramid, there are two types of research: primary research and secondary research. Primary research is when you have personal and you produce articles by a collection of data that not systematically and not statistically, and you publish articles. So that LTEs, case control studies, case reports, that random RCTs, cohort studies, all of this comes under that. I know these are a lot of words that I'm saying, but don't worry, मैं आहिस्ता आहिस्ता explain करूँगा in a few minutes. Each word, a very brief overview दूँगा what these exactly are. And then the secondary research are the ones in which you have more statistical and a more quantitative aspect, and you collect data from already pre-existing databases. अलग-अलग databases जो होते हैं, I'm going to talk about that later as well. And that is secondary research. उसके अंदर we have meta-analysis, we will have systematic reviews and critically appraised topics. ठीक है? So I think that should cover this part. Excuse me. अच्छा. So at the left, you can see a lot of stuff जो कि boxes बने हुए हैं. जहाँ if I start from the very bottom, वहाँ पे textbooks, access medicine, clinical key, उसके ऊपर Medline, PubMed, scope, उसके अलग-अलग चीजें लिखी हैं. So what is this exactly? So when I said the word databases a few seconds ago, Databases are where you will find the different articles that are generally published into different journals kept in one place. So if I talk about PubMed, okay, what is PubMed? A very brief overview. PubMed, it basically is a database. Just like हम लोग Google जाते हैं, Google Chrome या Google का जो website है, it's a collection of different links of different websites, right? Similarly, PubMed or any other associated journal web pages such as Cochrane or Scopus, Medline, PubMed, etc., all of them are like Google but for different articles. So let's say आपको in particular journal एक आता है, ठीक है, अलग अलग journals होते हैं, जैसे कि पाकिस्तान का एक journal तो आप उधर publish करते हैं, उसका वो जाके उठा के PubMed पे उसको link किया जाता है ताकि when you're searching on PubMed you can easily find these particular articles and their links. So I think that should cover this particular part, this overview. Okay, I'm going to move to the next part, okay, in which I'm going to be discussing the basic type of research. Okay, there's a question: will this be? No, Furkan, no, this will not be available. Okay, as a screen recording, primarily because this is a particular session to plan it and everything takes a lot of time. And simply sharing it out, it's a bit difficult for us. And of course, if you're taking a screen recording as well separately from your own third party screen recordings, I highly recommend not doing that. Please, you can copyright ki taraf ja sakta hai, and I do not want any unnecessary troubles. And yeah, that should pretty much be it. Moving on to the next part. Achha, if the admins can hear me, agar koi sawalat aaye which are repeating, could you like answer them? And I think that should perfectly be it. All right. Moving on to the next one, okay. Now I'm going to be showing you the basic formats, okay, and I'm going to be showing you examples of these particular types of articles. So sabse pehle we're going to talk about letter to the editor. Letter to the editor, if I go back to that pyramid, okay, it's going to be it comes under background information and expert opinion. It is considered the lower tier of research classification, thoda lower level hota hai, but as a first year who just got into Dow, I think 3 mahine hoye honge mushkil se aapko, and as a person who is just starting out, but even if you're a second or third year, doesn't matter. If you're starting off out on research, this is a good place to start LTEs because it is going to ensure that aap jo cheez banaye is going to produce your foundation, then you can work on higher levels of higher tiers of research and climb the ladder. Okay, so what is an LTE? So आपको याद होगा जब आपने A levels या FSC या इंटर के एग्जाम देते थे तो आपके पास इंग्लिश या उर्दू के अंदर एक सेक्शन आ रहा था अपने एडिटर को या न्यूज़पेपर एडिटर को send them a letter about a particular topic. ठीक है, आपको टॉपिक दिया जाता था and you used to write a letter to the editor कि भाई dear editor of Dawn News, dear editor of this particular channel, dear editor of this particular news channel. This is and used to discuss a topic, give it an overview, a professional formal letter and you used to send it, right? In a very similar way, we have a letter to the editor. So by definition, a letter to the editor is a very brief communication. It's a brief communication and a brief 300 to 500 word article जो कि आप publish करते हैं to answer, provide comments, provide questions, critiques, or updates on previously published articles or editorials. What do I mean? What do I exactly mean by that? So let's say you go to one of these journals or one of these web pages such as PubMed or Cochrane, or you just see के भाई this is a particular web page, ठीक है, यहाँ पे इस journal में कोई नया clinical trial आया है, कोई नया particular drug का comparison with a placebo, for example, दिया हुआ है, ठीक है, and they're like this is a new drug, ठीक है, and these are the benefits, these are the cons, and you see कि अच्छा ये नई चीज है, ठीक है, and I think I can produce an article because बहुत से journals उसके बारे में नहीं जानेंगे, बहुत से लोग को नहीं पता होगा उसके बारे में. So that is an opportunity to write an LTE, a letter to the editor, in which you write a letter talking about the specific drug जो कि आपने अभी नया निकला है, and you researched about it, ठीक है, and you have अलग-अलग articles supporting your particular LTE, ठीक है, and you send that to an editor, to a journal कि भाई ये है. Let's say if I talk about a new drug, let's say drug X, for example. Drug X is this, it treats this particular disease, the disease that I'm talking about, पर उसको introduction देते हैं, and then you talk about कि भाई what are the pros and the cons and why should this be added, and then you of course move on towards getting the publication. So I'm going to break down 3 parts. मैंने लिखा है on this particular slide कि a letter to the editor is a brief communication providing comments, questions or critiques. What do they mean? Comments, ठीक है, मतलब क्या होता है? Comments in a very comments slash communication, ठीक है. It's again just a brief overview of a particular topic. For example, I will show you 3 examples of our seniors, ठीक है, and I'll talk about one of my first publications. उसके अंदर था I wrote I wrote a particular article on imposter syndrome. Okay, and then I was like, that's it's considered an LTE and a comment. Why? So I published this on JPMA, ठीक है, and I saw कि JPMA में ये आर्टिकल के बारे में कुछ information नहीं है, and they should have this. So I wrote an article, भाई ये topic है, ठीक है, I believe this should be on the journal, there should be more research on this, and then I published that. Similarly, questions के अंदर आ सकते हैं, and updates के अंदर आ सकते हैं कि let's say किसी और ने पहले से ही एक article लिखा हुआ है. Let's say you read an article on this particular drug X, जिसके हम पिछले मैं analogy दे रहा था, and you realize कि यार this drug has some adverse effects, and therefore we should have a few more clinical trials, a few more statistical analyses on it. Then you can put a critique. What is a critique? If a critique simply put है कि किसी और ने एक आर्टिकल लिखा है, समझो मैंने एक आर्टिकल लिखा है called drug X improving lives. एक आर्टिकल है, इसमें बताया drug X के positives. आपको पता चला रिसर्च करके कि इसके नेगेटिव्स बहुत ज्यादा है, and therefore you write a critique कि भाई एक this as a direct approach to speak to a particular publisher. For example, you're talking to me, right? You're publishing कि भाई or you reference my particular, you give citation of my previous article, drug X saving lives, the positive वाला, and then you come in ठीक है कि इन्होंने ये भेजा था. However, there are these other references show, these other articles show कि ये उल्टा इसके काफी ज्यादा मसाइल हैं, there are a lot of issues. Therefore, there should be more RCTs, there should be more clinical trials, more and more research, more statistical analysis on it, and then you can send it. Now, keep in mind, when you are writing a critique, TK, a critique is not supposed to be disrespectful. Whatever you are publishing, TK, is a way of simply showing what you are as a person. And if you use ulte seedhe alfazat, then an LTE is not an LTE. It's informal. Then it's completely discarded. So keeping a very professional environment and stuff. ठीक है, अच्छा मैंने इस पे ज़्यादा से time spend करूँ क्योंकि the basic overview, I'm ज़्यादा time इसलिए लगा रहा हूँ क्योंकि this article is the one that I'm teaching you, right? And I'm going to talk about the general format. Now, general format के अंदर again, it could be about new discoveries. मैंने for example पढ़ा एक drug X के बारे में, and I think this is a new revolutionizing drug, ठीक है, I can talk about that. क्रिटिक is आपको पता चला कि यार ड्रग एक्स के इश्यूज हैं, आपने पब्लिश किया कि भाई इसके इश्यूज हैं, ये चीजें हैं, there should be more stuff on this, more references, more articles, more research, and suggestions or additions, ठीक है, to the journal. Generally it contains 3 to 4 paragraphs, ठीक है, 3 से 4 paragraphs होते हैं, introduction, body, conclusion, or some additional if you're writing a short communication, which is a lot. Actually, I'm going to mention this as well. LTE के साथ there is something called a short communication, which is a larger version of an LTE, ठीक है, but it's like 1,000 words, ठीक है, and it has more references, more authors and stuff like that. So coming back, 300 से 500 words, 500 words being the maximum, थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे चलता है, ठीक है, and this may vary in different journals. I'm going to talk about journals in a bit, ठीक है. उसके अंदर 500 वर्ड्स, कुछ लोग 500 वर्ड्स देते हैं, कुछ लोग 600 वर्ड्स देते हैं, कुछ journals sometimes even go as far as 1,000 words. You have to read the editorial policies, उनके policy की criteria आपको पढ़नी पड़ती है journals पे जाके. Generally they accept 3 authors. मतलब let's say I am writing an article and I do the stuff ठीक है with 2 other partners. So 3 लोग आ गए, हम लोग 3 लोगों ने मेहनत करके साथ-साथ एक article लिखा, we publish it. Generally 3 are taken. However, it can vary from journal to journal. वो again you have to look up on that criteria. And references, मतलब आप reference के अंदर क्या होता है सबसे पहले? References in the basic words mean that there are different articles. आपने वो पढ़ा, आपको समझ आया, and you put and include parts of that particular journal article, and you write it in your particular article. Now, when I say you write it in your article, I do not mean आप copy paste करते हो, क्योंकि वो plagiarism आ जाता है. Plagiarism is a big no-no on every single journal. आपको plagiarize करना मना होता है unless there are some particular diagrams which have to be used. ठीक है, वो अलग बात है. But if you are not allowed to plagiarize and stuff. In addition, you just आपने समझो पढ़ा कि भाई मेरे, for example, coming back to that previous analogy, drug X a revolutionizing medicine, मैंने लिखा एक particular article, ठीक है, और let's say किसी एक और student आ जाए, let's take an example, there is Amna Sayyed, for example. She reads my article कि अच्छा, I like this article and I'm also writing an updated version of it, or I'm putting this in another journal. What should I do? She reads my article. She said, अच्छा, इस particular article के अंदर ये छोटा हिस्सा था, मुझे बड़ा पसंद आया था, and then you paraphrase it and include it in your particular article, and you give a reference कि मैंने ये information कहाँ से आया, ये information आया था उस वाला article जो कि रेयान ने लिखा था, जो कि PubMed पे है या जहाँ पे भी है. I think that should cover the basic of what an LT is. Now, I'm going to show you an example right now, okay? So I'm gonna just exit the PPT and I'm going to show you the example that I have right now. Yes, here it is. So guys, can you please let me know if you can see this particular PubMed का पेज नजर आ रहा है आप सबको? All right, perfect. So there are a few questions. So RBI is saying, so LTEs are sent to the editor of the same magazine or a different one. Okay, so RBI, the thing is, when you're publishing any particular letter to the editor, or any article, it is usually sent to one journal, and if they accept it, then you can move on to the next journal. If you send it to two different journals at the same time, मैं आगे जाके बात करूंगा, but I'll just give you a very brief overview. If you send it to two different journals at the same time, that's considered unethical, क्योंकि आप फिर दो जगह का पब्लिश हो गया, फिर ऑब्वियसली जर्नल्स के बीच में फड्डा हो जाता है. So we don't want that, ठीक है? And obviously आपके पर बुरा नाम होता है. And then Barney was saying, so the question is that first, second year medical students, so we trials and so Mariam, in terms of clinical trials, I don't think that's a huge scope of this particular session. But as a first, second year, again, it starts off at the basis of basic LTE start karo, basic articles, then you level up towards other journals, other types of articles. Coming back to this particular, Anaya, can you re-explain the author point? Could you like elaborate exactly what do you mean by the author wala point? Exactly कौन सा सवाल? जब तक मैं इस पे जरा आता हूँ, ठीक है? So how long do we have to wait before sending the article to another journal? 3 or 4 authors. So I'm going to talk about 3 and 4 authors. I'll come to your question at the very end, okay? So keep your questions with you and just type them out later. Okay? Yes, the ones writing the LTE, they are considered out. Let's say Anya, you're writing a particular article, आपने article लिखा, एक LTE लिखा, and you were collaborating with me and let's say some Fiza, for example. You, me, and Fiza are writing an article. We do the work and then we get authorships. I mean, publish it. Okay? So now let me come to this particular article. So this particular article is called Barriers to Efficient Provision of Healthcare Facilities and Experience from a Developing Country. Now, this is PubMed, okay, as you can see. How to search on it, search string strategies, excuse me, search string strategies, how to navigate through मैं थोड़ी देर बाद बताऊंगा. But coming to this particular article, okay, this article, this is an LTE. This is written by Fatima Fakir Musharraf and Anuja Rani. Fatima Fakir is a member of MedAngle, okay, and she is also a senior of mine, and she has done an amazing job. So if I go to this full text link and I show you the article itself, as you can see, she published this in October 2021 in JPNA, and I'm going to open this particular PDF. So after opening this, as you can see, sorry. Okay, so coming back, sorry about that. So this is the article that Fatma Fakir and her associate wrote, okay? And you can see if I just shift it to a bit of a, yes, everyone can see this, right? Can you confirm? Am I lagging or not? Achha, guys, am I lagging for anyone? Could you please confirm मेरी आवाज सही आ रही है? Achha, not lagging. Okay, so I think Ahmed, I think आपकी तरफ से मसला हो, you might have to rejoin. Okay, so coming back to the main point, okay, let me just hide this pin toolbar ताकि जरा जगह हो जाए. So as you can see, this particular article is over here, okay, and I'm going to compare it to the PPT that I showed you. Okay, उसमें we talked about 3 to 4 paragraphs, 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 authors होते हैं, आगे पीछे कुछ होता है, and then obviously उसके introduction, body, conclusion. So let's analyze this particular LTE. So as you can see, शुरू में भी have the first paragraph, ठीक है. Dear editor, Pakistan has nearly these many people. The statistical analysis आपने दिया है, which has 70 tertiary care hospitals there, and it is no secret that they are overburdened. So as you can see, Fatma Fakir and her associate have written this particular first page. And if you can just, I'm going to zoom in for you all. छोटा सा आपको one नजर आ रहा है, everyone. This particular one is a referencing way. ठीक है, मैं आपको आगे जाके सिखाऊंगा, so don't worry about that. It's a way of referencing जो कि आप करते हो when you read an article. So ये जो one है ना, this corresponds to, if I just scroll down, ठीक है, ये reference नजर आ रहा है आपको 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This just corresponds to this particular journal, this particular article जो कि PubMed में आपको मिल जाएगा. So that's one way of referencing. ठीक है, so this particular LTE consists of how many paragraphs? 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. ठीक है, 4 paragraphs हैं. So introduction, 2 bodies and a proper इन्होंने माशाल्लाह बहुत अच्छी तरीके से एनालाइज करके अच्छी सी कंक्लूजन दी है. So let's break this down. The first paragraph, ठीक है, is a very basic introduction. Despite healthcare workers' competency, ठीक है, several issues hinder the administrating proper care, ठीक है. A very brief introduction दिया गया है. A study conducted by Delhi that closely associates and matches with Karachi. Demographics suggest that patients come to visit, ठीक है. So तब जो पहला paragraph है, Fatma Fakir here has shown कि she's सबसे पहले the very first paragraph, this one छोटा सा, they have just given you and they have simply given you कि भाई what is this journal about? What is this particular article going to be about? Because that is usually what the article. When a journal receives so many hundreds upon hundreds of articles, sometimes they don't read the entire thing. Sometimes good journals, extremely good journals, they heavily do, but some journals they do not. And so over here, उन्होंने पहले लिखा है, she gave an introduction कि भाई what to expect in this particular journal. And in the next paragraph, she gave an overview भाई कि healthcare का system क्या है अभी पाकिस्तान में फिलहाल जो हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम है, जो टर्शरी केयर है, जो भी चीजें हैं उसमें मसाइल हैं क्या क्या है, और उसकी बेसिक एक ओवरव्यू दिया है. नेक्स्ट हमें थर्ड पैराग्राफ में बताया कि पेशेंट्स के लिए क्या क्या रेकमेंड फॉर एमआरआईज, अल्ट्रासाउंड, सीटी स्कैन्स, मे नीड टू आस्क सीक टेस्ट, ठीक है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स उसके अंदर मसाइल आते हैं. द कॉज ऑफ दिस मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग्स कैन बी पार्शियली कंस्ट्रक्टेड ड्यू टू लो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. सो जो ऊपर इश्यूज हमारे ऊपर हाईलाइट किए गए हैं उसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन, उसकी रीजन दी गई है, व्हाई इज दिस अकरिंग. So you can have an idea कि पहले introduction से आ गया, hook आ गया कि भाई this is what to expect in the article. Second paragraph comes in, इसके अंदर basic एक overview दिया कि भाई ये चीजें हैं, इधर पाकिस्तान में barriers हैं in a third world country, in a developing country में healthcare facilities का क्या barrier है. फिर उन barriers, why are these barriers existing? What is the reason behind the issues arising? उसकी बात की गई है. And then if you can see in the very last paragraph, which is I like the way that she started out this particular journal, particular article. One way to resolve the highlighted problems. This is a very key sentence in my personal opinion, because every LT that you write should have a basic outline. In this particular paragraph, she's giving you a solution, an alternative, a idea that can help resolve this. So I'm going to repeat all of the stuff that I said right now, in terms of very basic things. I'm going to write it down as well over here, in the chat box. So LT का usually first paragraph जो होता है, it's going to include a basic intro to the issue, and what to expect in the following 1 or 2 paragraphs. And obviously that is intro to the issue and the article itself. ये हो गया पहला. Second para usually includes the issues and their causes. Let me just put this in. I'm having a lot of grammatical errors because I'm stupid. And their errors, second, and their issues, ये हो गया second paragraph. Third paragraph can also be a body, so that can also elaborate on the second paragraph, and 3 to 4 paragraphs, जो भी last paragraph last paragraph, you have a proper conclusion, with an alternative or a solution. This is like the ideal proper LTE basic जो आपको आने चाहिए. अच्छा, so moving onwards, कितना टाइम है, what time है? So as you can see, DOI जो हमारा है, इसके अंदर एक this is a particular unique article ID जो आपको दिया जाता है. अच्छा, it's not loading right now, so that's no problem. हम उसी article देख रहे थे, पता नहीं मैंने क्यों click कर दिया. Okay, DOI is a unique ID that you get, and what is a DOI in the basic terms? DOI is we have a Shanakhti card, right? In Pakistan, we have a Shanakhti card which has an identity number, and that simply identifies कि भाई this is my unique number. Similarly, her article का अलग एक unique ID होता है, and DOI is that. इसके नीचे you can see something known as disclaimer, conflict of interest, and funding sources. So ये 3 चीजें जो होती है ना, this is a basic thing that is required in majority of all articles that you write. Disclaimer मतलब is there any issue that you might want to point out, कि इसके अंदर कोई errors आए थे, कुछ conflict of interest आ रहे हैं. Conflict of interest मतलब you are writing an article and you're working for a company, and let's say आप उनके article लिख लो, but you do not believe in this particular article itself. For example, I don't believe कि पाकिस्तान में healthcare के issues हैं, but because I'm a part of a company and I'm writing it for them, I have a conflict of interest. You have to mention that it is vital to do so. If you do not, then majority of us as a starter, as beginners, we don't really have any conflict of interest. Funding sources आपको disclaim करनी पड़ेगी कि आपको पैसे मिल रहे हैं कोई कंपनी के लिए, आप कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं. You point that out, and that's pretty much it. And the references part मैं आपको बाद में दिखाऊंगा, and at the next part. I think that is a huge breakdown of what this particular article is about. Okay, there are a few more examples. For example, यहाँ पे Umar Hayat, who was a fifth-year student, also part of MedAngle, and his fellow associates. Maybe JP में upload किया हुआ है. And the next one is another LTE, fight against the Delta virus. Where does Pakistan stand? Written by Hassan Shuja, Ganesh Kumar, and Dayab Hassan. Ganesh Kumar is also part of MedAngle. And JPMA की बात, you might be noticing कि यहाँ पे JPMA क्यों, why are there so many articles in JPMA? The reason I'm showing you JPMA is because it is the preferred first LTE publishing area that you might want to go to. कि आपको बहुत आसान होता है, and it's easy to publish there. And it is, LTEs are not usually accepted in international journals. Local journals are usually accepted in कुछ journals में. So that's why it's a good stepping stone. Actually, I think I spent a lot of time on this, TK. And so if you have any questions, guys, please send them now. I'm going to address all your questions for the next 3 minutes. TK, 12:15 तक. Then we'll move on to the next part. So if you have any questions, post them right now. जब तक मैं एक और example खोलता हूँ. अच्छा guys, have you all understood what I've been saying up till now? Wait, मेरा message load नहीं हो रहा. ठीक है. So Ananta, yeah, tips for selection of topic of an LTE. Yes, I will be covering that in the references वाला part. ठीक है. Procedure of submitting an LTE, इस पे भी मैं आता हूँ थोड़ी देर बाद. ठीक है. Ending में बिल्कुल publication जो agenda में दिखाया था मैंने आपको, publishing वाला pathway, I'm going to show you that as well. Don't worry about it. LTE should always be published on already published articles. So the thing is, Mariam, it usually is, okay, or if there's a published article already existing, then yes, you ideally, that is what people already do. That is a more common way of like proceeding towards published articles. However, some particular let's say journals, if I actually show you my article right now, okay, by author. So this is JPMA. I'm going to search by author, and I'm going to, let's say, Rayaan Imran. I'll type my name and I click search. So as you can see, मेरे यहाँ पे articles आ चुके हैं जो मैंने पुराने upload किए थे. ये दो, imposter syndrome and emergence of polycystic ovary syndrome. If I go to this particular article, now this particular article जो मैंने लिखा था for imposter syndrome, this particular article मैंने इसलिए लिखा था in JPM because JPM में there were no articles in this particular journal that addressed this issue. However, and other journals जो कि higher levels होते थे उधर already था, and to me it was like, why isn't this in this journal? There should be a topic in this, so we push this share. Okay, so अच्छा, so Anam is saying, is LTE basically a commentary of various already written articles? Yes, various, or is a yes, pretty much commentary of various of already written articles. Plus, of course, you produce an overview of it and you give a few more additions to it, and yeah. अच्छा, so I'm gonna give topic section की बात की गई ना, मैं बाने जरा बताता हूँ, ठीक है. अच्छा, Malika is asking, Malaika is asking, sorry, I'm butchering your name, ठीक है. Malaika is asking, as a medical student, we write the articles on any educational issues, or should we write on health issues? You can write on any issues, honestly. So, for example, imposter syndrome is a bit of medical and is a bit of a psychological thing, as a psychiatric thing as well. You can publish on that. For example, मैं एक article already लिख रहा हूँ on natural disasters and stuff. Already published होने जा चुका है वो, ठीक है. It's a national disaster thing. It's not, and it's like a global health management thing, right? It's not primarily like a very deep medicinal issue. So you can write an article on that. So how long do we have to wait before sending the article to another journal, knowing whether it got accepted or not? Asad has already answered this. So if you किसी और को अगर उसमें सवाल है, so you can have a view on that particular question. Can you tell us about an outline for the abstract? Yes, I will be talking about that in the publication part, and I'll be showing you the abstract that I wrote for my particular LTs. Okay, you know what? I'll just show you right now. If you can see this particular article, guys, मेरा imposter syndrome. In some journals, majority of journals require you to write an abstract about what you have in your article. So मेरा जो article imposter syndrome वाला है, 500 something words का है, but they want a 100 to 150 word का एक abstract का मतलब क्या होता है? आपके LT का summary छोटा सा, and what a person can expect. So here, for example, मैंने लिखा है, dear madam, imposter syndrome is defined as a psychological experience, blah blah blah, also emerge among physicians and farther ahead in their careers. फिर मैंने बताया कि यार why is recent studies के बारे में बात की है, क्या issues हैं, ठीक है, a detailed online literature search की मैंने बात की कि ये चीजें थी, मैंने की थी, and they were not available on this journal, but and उसके बारे में बहुत कम बात की गई थी. And then at the very end, we talked about the solutions and of course how you can have a very quick overview of it and how you can promote healthier social academic life. So that's pretty much an abstract. So it's आपका जो 500 वर्ड या 600 वर्ड का जो भी आर्टिकल है उसका further simplification and just to show the journal के क्या लिखा आपने इस पे. अच्छा, now it's 12:16, ठीक है. Are there any limitations on where we can take references from? अच्छा, so Mariam, if I talk about the limitations, ठीक है. So let's talk about where they are usually taken from. Conventionally, you go to different journals on PubMed or on Cochrane, or you just search up different journals and you look at that and you take articles and references from there. However, there are certain websites, news article websites, for example, आपने चले गए CNN, Al Jazeera, or you go to WHO, World Health Organization, or even BMJ, for example, journals and their articles or their news reports. अब उनको लेके आप कर सकते हैं, ठीक है. अच्छा, Erin, you are asking no bold letters underlining, ठीक है. So Erin, every single journal has their own criteria. वो लोग बताते हैं आपको कितनी spacing चाहिए, कितनी spacing होनी चाहिए, if there should be bold or if there should be bold or underlined. That depends on the criteria of the journal. मैं आगे जाके बात करता हूँ उसके बारे में, ठीक है. So I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna take Fizaz's last question, then I'm gonna move on क्योंकि we're pretty short on time. Do LTs have only criticism, or can we add on to them without having? Sorry, what? Do LTs only have to be? Achha, LTs do not have to only have to be criticism. It could be a general thing. You just talk about what like an general issue is and how you can go about writing about it, or एक कोई नया drug आ गया उसके बात कर ली, new invention आ गया उसके बात कर ली, new method of surgery आ गया उसके बात कर ली, or just a global disaster आ गया उसके बारे में बात कर ली आपने. It doesn't have to be criticism. हाँ, you can देखो, not an LTE is the LTE is the bigger thing. उसके umbrella के under उसके sub category criticism, comments and चीजें आती हैं, ठीक है. And can we add onto them as well without having plagiarism issues? The plagiarism issues तब आते हैं when you literally copy paste the entire thing and don't give references, ठीक है, and you just take the entire credit for it. That is plagiarism. So if you do that, then of course it's not nice. You have to paraphrase and do that sort of stuff. Paraphrasing is important. Is it better to have your published in well-ranked journals? ठीक है, साके से बाद में आऊँगा मैं, ठीक है. How to know various policies for journals में बाद में आऊँगा, ठीक है. Moving onwards. So coming back to the PPT, can you guys see the PowerPoint presentation? Please confirm, guys. जब तक मैं जरा पानी पी लेता हूँ. Asad, there are some people in the. I'm gonna let them in. One second, guys. Let me just mute my mic. Okay, so that covers the LTE. Moving onwards, okay, we're going to look at the next part, which is case reports. Now, what is a case report and how do you write about it? Okay, so although case reports are technically considered a bit of a higher level in the pyramid, of course, if I just go back, case reports are a bit above the background information and expert opinion. Case report and case series, simply put, okay, are like आपके पास एक patient आता है and you find out कि इनके पास एक rare या unique disease है and you talk about that. So as you can see, मैंने literally copy पे definition लिखा हुआ है. A case report is a detailed description of a single patient's medical history, diagnosis, and it can include the diagnosis, the treatment, the outcomes, and whatnot. अच्छा, I must give you a disclaimer. It could be a single patient's history, उनके ऊपर एक unique case कोई आया, you can talk about that, or it could be, let's say let's say आप पढ़ रहे हैं civil, अब you go and study, you're in your wards at civil hospital and you see that suddenly there's a huge rise in a particular disease. Just for example, coronavirus के दौरान corona के cases बढ़ गए थे, obviously it increased to extremely high level. And when you are in different hospitals, different articles, क्या होता है? Usually they if you write case reports and you send it to, let's say, the government body कि भाई ये issue आ रहे हैं and we should highlight this. And during कोरोना के COVID-19 के टाइम्स पे क्या हुआ था, यही इशू आया था कि यार बहुत सारे केसेस कोरोना के अचानक से बने. उसके बाद केस रिपोर्ट्स लिखे गए, उसके पर अपडेट्स किए गए थे एंड गवर्नमेंट बॉडीज वर टोल्ड अबाउट दिस कि ये चीजें आ रही हैं, ये इश्यूज आ रहे हैं, वी नीड टू लुक एट दिस, ठीक है. सो इन अ वेरी ब्रीफ, मैंने थोड़ी लंबी बात कर ली, बट कमिंग टू द वेरी ब्रीफ पॉइंट, केस रिपोर्ट्स या तो आप एक पर्टिकुलर पेशेंट का लिख लेते हैं, लेट्स से पर्सन ए बी सी, ठीक है. जॉन डो एक बनता है, ठीक है. जॉन डो, he has, let's say, micro aneurysms in his upper limb. It's a huge word, ठीक है. Don't worry, it's just a disease, ठीक है. मैंने just fancy disease का नाम ले लिया है. Upper limb में कोई micro aneurysms आ रहे हैं and it's a unique type, ठीक है. And then you go and take their history, you take their unique presentations, उनकी history देते हैं. Diagnosis आपका क्या होता है, differential diagnosis, ट्रीटमेंट आपने क्या दिया, आउटकम क्या दिया, यू पुट इट इन अ प्रॉपर आर्टिकल. Moving onwards, ठीक है, a case report is usually written when there are unique cases, a rare presentation or side effects. हाँ, you can also talk about case reports in terms of drug medications. ठीक है, let's say मैं बात कर रहा था, coming back to the same analogy, drug X, कोई खतरनाक ड्रग है, मैंने बोल दिया अच्छा है, किसी ने बोला बुरा है, किसी ने क्रिटिक, लेट्स से अनम ने लेट्स से उस पर लिख लिया था LT के, वो क्रिटिक लिख लिया कि इसने जो बताया है यस आई अप्रिशिएट इट. ठीक है, हाँ, अच्छा, आई शुड मेंशन दिस, critique के बारे में I seriously forgot to mention this. When you're writing a critique, ठीक है, appreciate the opposite side and then give reasons. Do not be harsh, ठीक है, do not be extremely harsh, because that would backfire on you. Okay, coming back to the main point, case reports में आपने ड्रग एक्स के बारे में पढ़ा, आपने उसके किसी पेशेंट को प्रिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं एंड यू फाइंड आउट उसके ऊपर साइड इफेक्ट्स हैं एंड यू टेक दैट पर्टिकुलर पेशेंट हिस्ट्री एंड स्टफ, उनके आफ्टर ट्रीटमेंट जो उनके फॉलोअप्स देते हैं एंड देन यू पब्लिश दैट इज आल्सो पॉसिबल. नाउ लेट्स लुक एट द फॉर्मेट. Case reports include generally 1000 words to 1500 words. ठीक है, उसके अंदर paragraphs can vary from 5 to 6. There's no कोई लकी में लिखा हुआ नहीं, it's not written on stone. ठीक है, कि इसमें आपको 4 या 5 पैराग्राफ होने चाहिए. It can vary. ठीक है, and you can check their clinical जो हमारे journals होते हैं उनके आप चेक कर सकते हैं policies, their editorial policies, information for authors, ठीक है, as just highlighted, and then you can of course do that. Now case reports are usually written by 4 or 5 authors. ठीक है, so authorship 4 से 5 लोग हो जाती है. This can vary. References 10 से 12 होते हैं तकरीबन. That can also vary from journal to journal. And care guidelines are to be followed. I'll talk about the care guidelines in a few minutes. ठीक है, but let me highlight one thing. I'm not going to talk a lot about this क्योंकि थोड़ा higher level है. And usually for case reports thing is, it is better to do case reports when you are doing your words, or at least if you are a beginner, a junior, first year, second year, for example, and you have a senior who's writing a case report, you can collaborate with them, help them like write the entire article and stuff, and get an authorship. That's usually what case reports are there for. Acha, next, I think there's another person in the waiting room. I'm gonna let them in. Okay. As I was saying, usually third year students ऐसा करते, third year से बच्चे शुरू करते हैं case report रखना, but there is no limitation. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can easily go ahead and make an article on this. Moving onwards, format की मैंने आपको बता दिया, उसका idea दे दिया भाई कि what are the paragraphs, के कितने words होते हैं, क्या चीजें होती हैं. Now usually what a case report should include are 3 things: an introduction, normal presentation, side effects, ठीक है, and the general statistics about the focused case. ठीक है, कि क्या क्या पेशेंट्स के अंदर ये चीजें थी, वी सॉ कि इनके पास नॉर्म. सो लेट्स से मेरे पास आए जॉन डो बंदा आया, उसको एक माइक्रो एन्यूरिज्म आ गया इन द अपर लिम्ब. आपने नोटिस किया उनके फॉर सम इनको, लेट्स से इफ यू आर स्टडीइंग ब्लड मॉड्यूल राइट नाउ, you might know what epistaxis is. ठीक है, if you study pathoma, hemorrhagic bleeding and stuff like that. ठीक है, you might see that in your books in pathoma and studies in those books. ठीक है, you notice that कि ये नजर आ रहा है आपको सामने, that is something very unique. Usually अगर patient कोई आता है, what would a normal patient with let's say a normal microaneurysm have, किसी को अगर अंदर कोई वो microaneurysms मतलब any disease, ठीक है, मैं बस इसका analogy के तौर पे microaneurysms कह रहा हूँ. let's say कोई और random सा patient है, उसके तबीयत खराब, एक पेशेंट आता है, उसको कोई वायरस हो गया, उसको नजर आता है नज़ला खांसी है, थोड़ी तबीयत खराब है, मे भी उसको उल्टियाँ हो रही हैं, एंड देन यू सी कि एक बंदा है, उसको बहुत ज़्यादा इंटरनल ब्लीडिंग हो रही है, कुछ इश्यूज आ रहे हैं, एंड दैट्स यूनिक, लेट्स से. And then you talk about that. You introduce के नॉर्मल चीजें ये होती हैं, general statistics about this particular disease, let's say diarrhea के बारे में ये चीजें होती हैं, ठीक है. But then you talk about the next paragraph and the case. उस case, the case वाला जो part है, you talk about what is the unique thing about this patient, ठीक है. When they came in, वो कैसे look, what was he looking like, उनकी presentation क्या थी, symptoms क्या थे, signs क्या थे, history क्या थी, outcomes, ठीक है, patient के during the treatment था, उनके आपने क्या treatments दी, क्या क्या drugs दिए, क्या क्या management चीजें थी, and follow up आपने कैसे किया. Then discharge history usually is also included. That is usually what you get from like case reports. You can go to Word कि आपके जो head HODs होते हैं, just to go to any house officer, अगर उनके through आपको मिल जाए, कोई ward में student जा रहा हो, उनके through आपको अगर case मिल जाए, you can go ahead and ask them कि मुझे एक case report लिखना है, I want a case, so could you help me get one from like the teachers or one of the ward supervisors here. Okay, next, talking about the discussion. Sorry guys, I need to drink some water. Robert Galaz. Sorry about that guys, excuse me. अच्छा, moving onwards to the discussion, ठीक है. Discussion में ये होता है कि आपने फिर पहले 2 पैराग्राफ्स, पहले 3 पैराग्राफ्स लिख लिए, ठीक है, and then you move on to the discussion. Discussion में क्या होता है, again you can elaborate on I'm so sorry, मैंने गलती से मिक्स कर लिया था what is unique about a case report, मैंने आपको थोड़ा मिक्स कर दिया इसमें. इंट्रोडक्शन की मैंने बात कर ली थी कि नॉर्मल बंदा होता है, उसको अगर इसको डिजीज होता है स्पेसिफिक, उनको क्या होता है, केस में क्या होता है, आप जो नया जो बंदा का यूनिक केस है उसके आपने बेसिक इन्फॉर्मेशन दे दी कि भाई उनकी प्रेजेंटेशन क्या थी, उनकी हिस्ट्री क्या थी, उनके आउटकम्स क्या थे, उनके ट्रीटमेंट ऑप्शंस क्या थे, उनकी डिस्चार्ज हिस्ट्री क्या थी. दिस इज लाइक अ प्रॉपर स्टेप एंड प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट जो कि आपको यूजुअली हॉस्पिटल नजर आता है. Discussion में is where your part comes in and where you discuss, you analyze and you give a proper example and reason for this particular disease. डिस्कशन आज बता दिया यार, जो जॉन डो बंदा आया था उसको माइक्रो एन्यूरिज्म्स जो हो रहे थे अपर लिम्ब में, उसके बाद बहुत सारा इंटरनल हेमरेज, इंटरनल ब्लीडिंग चल रही थी, कुछ चीजें आई थी. एंड दिस इज नॉट यूजुअली लोअर लिम्ब में आपको माइक्रो एन्यूरिज्म ज्यादा होते हैं, अपर लिम्ब में कम होते हैं. तो आपने उसकी बात कर ली कि भाई केस रिपोर्ट में इसको अपर लिम्ब में था, थोड़ा डिफरेंट था, ये थी कि इसके अंदर क्या क्या अजीब सी चीजें नजर आई थी हमें, एंड व्हाट वर हिज हिस्ट्री के बारे में तो डिस्क्राइब कर लिया आपने. केस जो हमने प्रेजेंट किया तो यू टॉक अबाउट दैट. जनरल इफेक्ट्स ऑन द कम्युनिटी कि यार माइक्रो एनिज्म्स कहाँ का लोग अफेक्ट करते हैं, क्या क्या चीजें कर सकती हैं, एंड स्पेशली द अपर लिम्ब. एंड देन एट द वेरी एंड यू कैन टॉक अबाउट व्हेन यू वर एज अ डॉक्टर, और लेट्स से आपको जो फॉर्मेट मिलता है, केस आपको मिल जाता है आपके एचओडी से फ्रॉम द वार्ड्स एंड स्टफ. व्हाट वाज द डायग्नोसिस ऑफ इट, डिफरेंशिएट इनिशियल किस हमने क्या लगा, हमें क्या लगा था, क्या वो डायग्नोसिस था, व्हाट वर द डिफरेंट टेस्ट दैट यू गिव, एंड फिर आपने इसको ट्रीटमेंट ऑप्शंस क्या दी थी. जस्ट एलैबोरेट ऑन द केस. I think that should conduct this case report wala part. I'll show you an example of this later on. Okay, so we'll look at for that one later on. Moving onwards. हाँ, अब आते हैं. So guys, you know what? Now it's exactly 12:28, right? क्योंकि ये सेशन अभी 1 घंटा और रहता है. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. We can take a 5-minute break, ठीक है? Because I need to just get some like something to drink. गला खराब हो रहा है. So like let's take a 5-minute break, ठीक है? And then we will return in exactly 12:28 हो रहे हैं. 5 मिनट मतलब 12:33 पे शॉर्प में वापसी आता हूँ, ठीक है? I will now तब तक you can put your questions in the chat box, ठीक है? And our admins will reply to you, ठीक है? Burhan, no Burhan, the session is being recorded for others' sake, but it will not be shared, ठीक है? That will not happen. Already mentioned कर चुका हूँ. So guys, if you have questions, post them, ठीक है? The admins will answer you, and I will also answer you. I'll just get some water and be back, ठीक है? So a 5-minute break. अच्छा guys, तब तक if you want, ठीक है, I'm gonna scroll back to this case report वाले. You can take pictures of this if you want, ठीक है? You can take screenshots of this particular thing, ठीक है? I don't mind. So I'm gonna go back to the very beginning. Agenda की आपको, if you want to take a screenshot, by all means go ahead. You can take a screenshot of this. But at the okay, you know what? I'll just come at the end, ठीक है? And you can take a screenshot of the entire PPT. So I'm gonna be back in exactly 12:33 पे हम आपसे resume करते हैं इसको. Okay guys, so we are back. Achha guys, so can everyone hear me? Break is over. मेरी आवाज आ रही guys? Just like type in the chat box. Okay. Perfect. सही होगा, ठीक है, good. Okay, so moving onwards, ठीक है, we did case reports, ठीक है. Now moving on to the next particular part, we're gonna talk about case reports. हो गया, ठीक है, journals. Now, so we've सबसे पहले we've covered the research classification, ठीक है. We've talked about, let me just summarize what we've done till now. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so we've talked about the agenda की बात हो गई थी, research classification. We've talked about the research classifications, ठीक है, what are different types of research आप कर सकते हैं. I've taught you how to start with a letter to the editor, comments or critiques कैसे लिखना है. And then we've talked about short communications का मैं brief overview दिया था जो 1000 word वाला होता है, and you can obviously write stuff on that. Moving onwards, we talked about case reports where you can kind of communicate with your seniors and get this done too. Next, I think we can talk about ये हो गया, yes, case reports की बात कर ली थी हमने, इसकी बात कर ली थी. Okay, now हमने बात कर ली कि हम where we wrote, so let's say we've written an article, ठीक है, on this so-called drug X. Now we're looking for journals, where to publish them, कहाँ publish कर सकते हैं, क्या क्या journals होते हैं, and short communication has the same format as an LTE, but it's more than the, yes, in essence, yes, yep. But short communication, usually you don't write dear editor or dear madam, that is different. and some journals don't even take LTEs. वो बोलते हैं आप normal short communication लिख लो 500 वर्ड का, वो बस LTE short communication के अंदर LTE आता है और LTE के अंदर ठीक आता है, बल्कि short communication के अंदर ही आ गया एक तरीके से. So it's not that of an issue. It varies from journal to journal. खैर, moving onwards, ठीक है. There are journals के दो types होते हैं. सबसे पहले the two types of journals include I'm so sorry, one second. Nope. So journals के दो types होते हैं. So when you are looking to publish in a journal क्या होते हैं, जैसे you're studying, let's say Garten and Hall आप पढ़ रहे हो ना, या आप कोई किताब पढ़ते हो, उसमें आपको नजर आता है एक लिखा होता है छोटा सा कॉपी, छोटा स्टिकर होता है वुल्फ क्लेफनर के नाम से, कुछ अजीब सा कोई नाम होता है कंपनीज का. They accept these books, ठीक है, उनके नाम पे पब्लिश की जाती हैं, and that is sort of a journal. ठीक है, so journals are where you have different articles related to the different journal की specificities, जो कि मैं भी बात करता हूँ, and you publish them. And further क्या होता है, PubMed और वो Cochrane and everything, they take these articles from these journals and they publish it. They don't publish it, they simply show it on their website, on their web page, ठीक है, on their full research database, ताकि आप डायरेक्ट दबाएं तो आपको उसको जर्नल की तरफ ले जाए, फिर आप जर्नल में उस आर्टिकल को पढ़ लें. So that is what a journal is, ठीक है, basically. And there are two types. Now, two types का मतलब क्या होता है? There is number one open access and there is a closed access journal. Open access का क्या मतलब है? Open access का ये मतलब है कि as a reader, when we're looking towards going to journals and let's say reading an article, for example, आप लोग गए थे JPM में, I showed you my article, short one post syndrome and polycystic ovarian syndrome की बात कर रहे थे हम लोग. That journal JPM is open access. इसका मतलब ये होता है कि एज ए रीडर मुझे रिसर्च करनी है, मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ और मैं पढ़ते मुझे नजर आता है यार, अच्छा आई ओपन द जर्नल एंड आई रीड पोस्ट सिंड्रोम एंड आई कैन रीड इट फॉर फ्री, द एंटायर थिंग, आई कैन डाउनलोड द PDF एज वेल. सो एज ए रीडर, ऐसा पढ़ने वाला, ठीक है, मुझे आई कैन जस्ट एक्सेस दैट फॉर फ्री. एंड यूजुअली इसमें क्या होता है, एज अ पब्लिशर, फॉर एग्जांपल आप पब्लिश कर रहे हो, मैंने पोस्ट सिंड्रोम को पब्लिश किया, ओपन एक्सेस जर्नल्स यूजुअली चार्ज यू अ सर्टेन फीस, पब्लिकेशन फीस, and you have to pay that. However, there are certain journals that can take a waiver. मतलब आप तो apply कर दो waiver के लिए यार कि I'm a medical student, for example, and it's difficult for me to afford this. Can I get a waiver? And the proper format में formal letter लिखते हैं to the journal, जो भी उनके editor board, editorial board पे जो होते हैं, या तो journal का अलग से financial वाला section होता है, you can go there and you apply for a waiver ताकि आपसे पैसे नहीं ले. It may be accepted, it might not. Open access journals may usually, but you have to pay. And the positive thing about open access journals is if you pay and you let the people see it for free, majority of the time everyone can see it और आपकी publicity बढ़ती है एक तरीके से. The article is more available हर जगह नजर आ जाता है, for example, ठीक है. And then closed access का scene ये है, closed access is simply put the exact opposite of open access. Closed access में as a reader मुझे पैसे देने पड़ेंगे पढ़ने के लिए. So let's say you go for example, अगर आप जाते हैं online, you go to a particular journal and you read their articles, and उसमें लिखा है you have to buy a subscription to view this article, and then as a reader you have to pay a certain amount of money. And publisher, जैसे if I published an article over there, let's say मैं अपना global disaster वाला जो publish कर रहा हूँ, उसमें मैं कर रहा हूँ closed access journal में, I do not have to pay any money, and you as a reader would have to pay money so that you can see, or you have to pay for a subscription. एक तरीके से उसको ये देखा जाता है यूनिक और प्रेस्टिजियस, इसको दिया जाता है, हाई रैंक जाता है, हाई इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर जर्नल्स को दिया जाता है. मैंने जो राइट पे इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर लिखा है ना, I'm going to talk about that, ठीक है. एंड अगेन लिमिट्स हो गया भाई कि आप ज्यादा पब्लिकली अवेलेबल नहीं होगा, ठीक है. या श्योर, आई अंडरस्टैंड. So yeah, so I'm gonna do a bit more. If you have any wait, sorry, I'm so sorry. अच्छा, अगर if you all can understand English और उर्दू, अगर आपको मैं थोड़ा bilingual होके बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि a lot of people who only speak Urdu, so I'll try and keep everything bilingual so that everyone can understand what I'm talking about, ठीक है. So I'm going to repeat the open and closed access one. It actually जो भी यहाँ पे लिखा है ना, whatever is written over here, that is literally it. There is no further elaboration to it. But what the elaboration is needed is for number the scope, audience, impact factor, and editorial policies. So each journal will have a particular scope. So if, for example, if I talk about a journal called The Lancet, okay, it's a broad usually closed access journal, and it has some subcategories. For example, The Lancet Oncology, The Lancet Orthopedics or Neurology. So these are subspecialties, of course, as a medical student, you already know, there are subspecializations in the field of medicine. And then some journals will only accept articles, let's say on neurology. Lancet Neurology will only accept articles on that talk about neurology. So that's a scope. Then we talk about the audience. Now, when you're writing an article, you can write about, let's say, the patients, it's open access, JPMA. So you talk about the audience, audience may you have, let's say, doctors, or let's say in an audience you have, instead of doctors, you have someone else like a different geological scientists, or simply readers, just chill करने के लिए read करते हैं, just read for the fun of it, magazines type. So the audience different होती है, and usually in some particular journals they consider the audience, not a lot, but some they do. Impact factor. Now this is a very important thing. Now a journal's impact factor is like a rating. How good is a journal? For example, JPMA is considered a low impact factor journal, but it is a good place to start off with the LTEs, just to build a foundation and move on, to bigger journals. Impact factor of, let's say, I believe, if I'm not wrong, JPMA has an impact factor of with less than 1%, 0.8%, I think 0.8, 0.5 impact factor, and it's a low impact factor, low rated journal compared to, let's say, the Lancet or the New Journal of Medicine, of New England Journal of Medicine, which is a high impact factor, 16, 20, 25 impact factor. So again, in my opinion, if I were to give you advice, start with the lower types of researches and the lower impact factor, and climb the ladder to the bigger ones, so that it's better for you. You get more accustomed to the methods. And then editorial policies, as we've already discussed, some journals will have some editorial policies. When you're writing the article, should it have double spacing? Should it have bold letters? Should it have these many words? How many authors can it have? How many paragraphs can they have? And of course, what is the entire procedure? Do you need an abstract for it? Do you need a bio sketch for it? Bio sketch, simply put, is like, I'm talking about myself. Let's say Rayaan Imran is a second-year medical student at Dow Medical College and believes in that. I've given a small summary about myself and why I want to do research. That is what a bio sketch is in the basic words. Okay? I hope you understood that. Okay? So that should cover the basic journals. And this is literally all you need to know in terms of journals. Okay? Further publication के बाद हम 2 मिनट में करते हैं. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So moving onwards to the next page. Now we come to the very high yield part. Okay? जो कि होंगे, how do you do how do you go through PubMed? How do you produce a string search strategy? How do you find a topic? Then we'll talk about referencing in Mendeley. I will show you a live tutorial on the process interval article, as I've already shown you. I will show you again. I will open that article up, that manuscript up, and I'm going to show you how I did the referencing and how I used something called Mendeley to do the referencing. So if you don't understand it, don't worry, you can ask me to repeat it. Although you can get this YouTube पे आपको मिल जाता है वैसे some resources how to do this fancy sort of referencing and stuff. Although it's not fancy, it's pretty basic. And then I'm going to show you the published examples in the previous one as proper ending की तरफ अपन चलेंगे, ठीक है? So let me open the PubMed. PubMed भैया आप कहाँ गए? Where is PubMed? Bro, where is PubMed? कहाँ गया? हाँ, ये रहा. Okay. So guys, can you see my page right now? Yep, you can. Awesome. Why am I getting? All right, perfect. So I'm going to open Google Chrome and I'm going to go to PubMed. Okay. Actually, PubMed, as you all know, is a database for like all the research things that you need to have. So I'm just open this and load it. Internet bara tang kar raha hai. All right. So this is the interface of what PubMed looks like when you start and load it up. National Library of Medicine, blah blah blah, and this is where you start searching. Now what I'm about to show you guys is the very bare minimum basic sort of how you can filter and finalize your searches. And I'm going to show you what, as a first year student at Dow Medical College, how I did my first article and how did I search my article and how did I come up with a topic. So I'm going to go firstly to this particular, I'm going to explain a short thing that I think is very important in the live tutorial. Can you all see this particular image that I'm showing? Acha, what is this? Diagram ko kya bolte hain? I think everyone knows. Yep, Venn diagram hota hai. Perfecto. Nice, nice. Okay, good. Moving onwards. So in PubMed, we have something that we call Boolean operators. Fancy name for a very basic thing, but I'll just write the spelling down as well. Boolean operators. Okay, so all in all caps again. But what does Boolean operators mean? So Boolean operators is a specific function in PubMed that you use, that you type, and when you type it, it helps you filter out certain articles. Let's say मुझे एक article कर, let's say, so सबसे पहले तो हम इसकी बात कर ले Venn diagram की कि क्या क्या चीजें show करना चाहता है, what is it trying to represent. So let's say there are two particular circles, ठीक है, and they are interceding, ठीक है, as you can already see here. ये जो and वाला for example बना हुआ है, ठीक है, and this is a Boolean operator that we use in PubMed while we're searching. And let's say इसमें दो articles हमें लिख रहे हैं, हम लोग drug X के उसमें आ जाते हैं analogy पे कि there is a drug X, ठीक है, and it's, let's say, focused on, we're trying to produce an article about drug X and how it affects the elderly, only the elderly. हाँ, exactly, you were talked, I think आपको community medicine में बता पा रहा होगा, but खैर I'll just repeat it, ठीक है, we have a bit of time. So इसमें क्या हो गया, you have a Venn diagram and you're talking about drug X and how it affects the elderly, and you search it up upon PubMed. Okay, PubMed search करो आप drug X, drug X के ऊपर आपने searching की just on PubMed. उसके ऊपर articles आ गए, उसमें फिर there are a lot of articles that are talking about the elderly, the children, the adults, male adults, female adults, and of course you want, let's say आपको चाहिए सब आपको elders की चीजें बताएं. So what you do is then you type in PubMed drug X, then you write capital letters में space दबा के and then you space दबा के then you simply write elderly. तो आपको जो भी articles के अंदर सिर्फ वही articles आपको show किए जाएंगे जहाँ पे drug X की बात की गई है, where they're talking about drug X, and they only refer to the elderly as their let's say clinical trial, or for example cohort, for example. Next we have or simply put is going to highlight everything that you want to have. So drug X, we're talking about, let's say वही बात आ जाती है, you're talking about drug X, or let's say there are two drugs की बात कर लेते हैं कि you're searching about drug X and drug Y, and you want articles on all of these drugs, ठीक है, उसमें drug X के बारे में बात की जाए, drug Y के बारे में बात की जाए. So you go to the PubMed, you write on their search string, I'm going to actually show you over here, ठीक है, drug X, so drug X, or ठीक है मैं लिखा है drug Y. Now what is it going to do? It's going to click on search, and somehow इसमें results आ भी गए, which is very nice, ठीक है, and it's going to show me all the articles which include या तो drug Y हो या तो drug X हो, ठीक है. तो फिर ये हो गया, या तो आपको सब कुछ include किया जाता है. अच्छा, so so in this example I did not refer to drug X and drug Y. So उसमें क्या, हाँ, we can do that as well. Yes, absolutely, we can do that. मैं आपको उससे भी elaborate करता हूँ. So drug X और drug Y की बात कर लिया आपने. This will show अगर एक particular articles, एक article में सिर्फ drug X की बात की गई है तो drug X का show किया जाएगा. सिर्फ drug Y की बात की गई तो drug Y का show किया जाएगा. If there are articles में दोनों drugs की बात की गई है वो भी show किया जाएगा. So like Abia just asked, can't we do drug X and drug Y? Now what drug X and drug Y will do, if I just click on and, what this Boolean operator will do is that it's going to narrow down the searches. So as you can see, पिछले search में I had 333,000 because they include both the drugs, right? If I go ahead and do and, it shows me a limited amount of drugs. So as I've already shown in the Venn diagram, is only going to show me the articles में दोनों की बात की गई हो, and that again depends on your article, whichever one you write it. And then let's say you're clicking on not. Let's say ठीक है, not का ये scene है कि you are trying to search about, let's say again drug X की बात की जा रही है, and in this particular drug X, for some reason there are a lot of articles that are talking about drug Y as well. So obviously like I said, drug X का drug Y का हमने लगा दी बात, and वो middle जो ये नजर आ रहा है, the intersection वो भी आ रहा है, and you don't want that. You don't want articles that are talking about both. You purely want drug X. So you come up to PubMed, click on drug X, and drug Y था ना, उसको and हटा दो, not लगा दो. So you will only get articles on drug X and not drug Y. So now there are 203,000. So I can do the opposite, drug X यहाँ पे लगा लेता हूँ मैं और drug Y यहाँ पे लगा लेता हूँ. Now I'll only get drug Y के ऊपर ये रहा. And see, I only got about the, ये तो example है, बहुत ही basic example दिया है. So drug Y के ऊपर चीज़ आएंगी सिर्फ, ठीक है. Now again, this may differentiate on whatever you are doing. So that should pretty much be it in terms of the how to navigate throughout the PubMed, ठीक है, what it is, how to go through it, and then you have additional filters, ठीक है, can filter out by like आप timeline को decrease कर दिया आपने कि आपको सब articles चाहिए, you only want articles from 2011 to 2023, and then you get those examples. See, now this is narrowing down. If I go in further to, let's say, 2019, 2018, I get fewer results. Then I get, let's say I want only an abstract if it's available. If it's abstract, I'll see these many results. So it's 32,000 approximately. If I want it to be free full text matlab you will get the full free text of open access journals. You click this, open access ka aa gaya, further reduce ho gaya, and then you can obviously add more and more filters. That's if, let's say, you are trying to do a document and you want RCT दबा दिया, ये सब आ गया. Additional filters are also there, ठीक है, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I would recommend exploring this, going to PubMed, exploring and trying it out. The more you practice on this, the more you'll get an idea of what it is about. It's pretty simple. Now let's say let's do a bit of a funny thing, okay? Let's say you want to do some jasusi, you want to go ahead and spy on your peers for whatever reason, and you want to see कि उन्होंने कितने publication किए. Although now you shouldn't do that, but hey, you can. So for example, you want to find out how many articles I've written, for the sake of argument, and you already know my full name is Rayaan Imran, okay? Now I'm going to show you what I'm writing right now, okay? Rayaan Imran, that's my full name. Well, not my full name, but my full name is Tanani Wala. Okay, so Rayaan Imran is my name, and you want to search क्या Rayaan Imran ने कितने articles लिखे. Now the thing is, this is not the accurate way of searching. This is the inaccurate way of searching. ठीक है, so if I click on search, तो मुझे आपको नजर आ रहा है, मेरे नाम तो नजर आ रहा है, of course, and as you can see मेरे 2 articles जो PubMed में indexed हैं, ठीक है, and you can see यहाँ पे मेरा Imran R लिखा है. So the standard way of searching for an article with the author's name is that you take their first their father's name or second name, ठीक है, जो होता है इसमें, and you just write that. So Rayaan Imran, Imran पहले लिखूंगा मैं, उसके बाद I'm going to go space, click on caps lock and put the initial of my first name. So Imran R दबा दिया मैंने. I go on search, and here you go. I have some articles, 37 articles जो कि यहाँ पे show किए गए by the Imran R for some reason. इतने articles मैंने नहीं लिखे, don't worry, 37 articles मैंने नहीं लिखा अभी तक. I've already written like a few, so आपको वो कभी नजर आएंगे. And then yeah, pretty much that's how you search about Imran R. And let's say you want the articles with Imran R, and let's say my other peer Hamza Shuja, for example, I write his name Shuja, sorry, I click first and Hamza Shuja. So Shuja मैं पहले लिखूंगा Shuja, and then I put H as his first initial, and I click search. I do not get apparently क्योंकि मैंने शायद उसके नाम में spelling की गलती कर ली होगी, so खैर हो गई. But you can, again, if you want to spy on me or stalk someone, go ahead. Imran R लगा लो, आ गया, show more results, आ गया, man. That's pretty much it. So I think that should pretty much cover this part. Now we're gonna jump on to the referencing. You can think हमने काफी ज़्यादा time से spend कर दिया. ठीक है, yes, absolutely, Maria, you can do LTE. So if we publish in journals, they'll also appear on PubMed. Yes, Abia. So there are some journals which are PubMed indexed. There are sub-journals which are not PubMed indexed. So, for example, if I go back to my imposter syndrome wala journal, okay, JPMA is a PubMed indexed journal. मतलब उसकी जो हम articles डालेंगे ना, वहाँ पे यहाँ PubMed नजर आएगा. So if I show you my article here, JP मैंने publish किया हुआ है, ठीक है, JP मैंने publish किया था, लेकिन यहाँ पर आ गया है, मुझे एक DY दिया गया है, मेरे associates and my name is also there. And then there is, of course, the emergence of polycystic syndrome, okay, वो भी JP में है, and it's PubMed indexed. The ones that are not PubMed indexed, you can publish there as well. It will be considered publication, but it won't be on PubMed when you search it. That's pretty much it. I think that should pretty much cover this entire thing. Now let's just close this because I think we've spent enough time on this. Now let's talk about referencing and Mendeley. So as you already know, I've already shown you the article by Fatma Fakir, for example, and over there she had the references. So how do you go about doing that? So sorry about that. Referencing के अंदर you read an article on PubMed, you like it, or you read an article online on, let's say, a website, WHO का कोई website, and you find it nice. You're like, okay, I want to reference this. So I'm going to show you the entire live demo right now. I'm going to close this and I'm going to open this particular journal. Example one, sorry. I'm not going to open this. There's no point opening this. Let's come back to this particular part. So referencing क्या होता है? Let's say I just open up my example. ठीक है, मैंने एक article कर रहा हूँ post. I'm going to show you the imposter syndrome वाले itself. ठीक है, I'm going to go here. You see my journal, ठीक है, and you can see some fancy stuff, Mendeley site and stuff. I'm going to show you what it is, how to exactly go about it. ठीक है, so don't worry about that. And you can see some fun अजीब-अजीब चीजें यहाँ पे. I'm going to show you the entire tutorial. So this is very high yield, so I highly recommend that you focus on this one. So let's say मैंने एक article, so let me just cancel this one out because this might confuse you. ठीक है, मैंने एक article लिखा है, Dear Madam, imposter syndrome is defined as psychological experience. This is already published, so care you can not copy it, which is good. Okay, this is the article that I've written. ठीक है, me and my friends have written. You see, अच्छा ये इसलिए मैंने लिख लिया, आपने एक आर्टिकल लिखा, let's say drug X के ऊपर, you written drug X is good, इसके ये चीजें हैं, नया ड्रग है, recent studies में इसने ये पॉजिटिव शो क्या है, इसके अंदर ये ट्रीटमेंट्स हो रही हैं, ये ड्रग्स की ये डिजीजेस को ट्रीट कर रहा है, stuff like that. ठीक है, so I'm gonna just cut this part off, and then I go back down and say, okay, I want to write a referencing. So मैंने पूरा आर्टिकल लिख लिया, मैंने नीचे जाके in my draft, ठीक है, मैंने लिखा I want to include references, so I just put a dashed line over here and I click on references. मैंने लिखा references, and I'm on a site and give my references कि मैंने कहाँ से ये चीजें पढ़ी. So let's go. I'm gonna open PubMed again. ठीक है, why is it open? All right, here it is. So let's say मुझे article लिखा था imposter syndrome पे, ठीक है, so I'm gonna go and to PubMed, ठीक है, and I'm gonna write down, let me just close this. अच्छा बंद नहीं हो रहा, खैर जो भी हो, ignore this वाला part, ठीक है, doesn't really matter. One second guys, having an error. Come on. Okay, now it's resolved. Share screen. Guys, can you confirm if you can see my screen now? Chat box, cool job, please. Guys, can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. Asad, can you let the rest of the people in? I think there are some people in the waiting room. Yep, they're in. Good. सही हो गया. अच्छा, coming back to this topic, देखिए क्योंकि अभी बहुत कम टाइम रहता है, 1:30 तक हमारा सेशन है, and I also have to take some live Q&A. So let's say मुझे करना है PubMed पे गया मैं यार, I want to study about PubMed, ठीक है, and I want to find some articles on imposter syndrome के ऊपर. Let's do it just for the sake of example के तौर पे, and I want it to be for medical students only, not anyone else. So I click on imposter syndrome, ठीक है, it's not typing. टाइप कर रहा है, बस लैगी है, bad laptop sadly. Imposter syndrome and medical students, ठीक है, and I click on, all right, let's go ahead and search. I get these many articles, which are 36, which is pretty damn low, very honestly speaking. It should be more, but it's come, so that just shows that we medical students are not appreciated. Okay, and I'm just joking, we are. So okay, imposter syndrome ka again, let's say I want to, I read this particular article, number 1, I'm going to open another tab, I'm going to open another tab for number 2, number 3, let's say मुझे ये तीन articles को I want to reference them, ठीक है, so I go to references, I go to the articles, ये खुल रही हैं, they're loading, ठीक है, just for the sake of argument, let's say I'm going to close this, ठीक है, and I'll see this particular imposter syndrome वाला article, and I want to do some referencing. So usually there is a function on the website itself that you can cite, do some citation, ठीक है, ये जो site नजर आ रहा है, you can usually copy and paste this as well, but it's not that robust, it has some issues. So I'm going to show you a software called Mendeley. Now Mendeley के what you have to download is 3 things, and it's for free, not charged at all, ठीक है. Mendeley के as you can see मेरे ये है Google Internet Explorer, नहीं Internet Explorer नहीं है, Microsoft Edge है, and I go to extensions, ठीक है, ये जो extension नजर आया button, I go there, ठीक है, and I want to get an extension, so you can go on YouTube and see how to install it. It's pretty basic, ठीक है, and I get this particular extension, Mendeley Web Importer. इसका ना आप लोग screenshot ले लें, ठीक है, बल्कि I just write it down as well. Mendeley Web Importer. अच्छा, so I get this extension. There are 3 things that I'm going to show you. This is one of them, Mendeley Web Exporter. So I'm going to write this down, ठीक है, Mendeley Web Exporter extension. This is available on Google Chrome as well as on the Microsoft Edge, ठीक है, and other browsers. So I see this, ठीक है, मैंने यहाँ पे रखा. Next, I'm going to show you another thing, and that is this particular application. If you can see, can you see my screen, guys? ये Mendeley Reference Manager नजर आ रहे हैं? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to Mendeley. So there are two types of applications. ठीक है, Mendeley के दो applications ऐसे आते हैं. You have to download the Mendeley reference manager. ठीक है, it's an application you can download on your laptop. So Mendeley reference manager. Yep, here it is, manager. Wait, I'm getting some error. Okay, manager. And this is the app to download. App to download. ठीक है, ये हो गया. Then I've talked about the Mendeley web exporter. ठीक है, मैं इसको भी यहाँ पे साथ साथ कॉपी पेस्ट कर लेता हूँ ताकि आप लोग ना भूलना चाहिए क्या है. And then if you have Microsoft Word and Office, ठीक है, this article that I showed you, imposter जो मैं दिखाया था आप लोग को, is loading up. ठीक है, there is this thing on Mendeley site के नाम से. Now download these three things because this will make it easier. We have to download manager extension. RB it's an extension. ठीक है, मैंने यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है. And then coming back, you have MS Word. ठीक है, and you go to Google, type in, भाई, I want to download Mendeley site for MS Word. Type that down on Google and you will find the instructions and you will download it. And you'll get this thing called Mendeley site. It's going to download and set up on your MS Word automatically. And it usually is found under references. So मैं home पे आ गए हम लोग, ये references के अंदर नजर आ जाएगा. So when I go to Mendeley site, ठीक है, यहाँ पे मैं इसको भी लिख लेता हूँ. Mendeley site. Mendeley site. Mendeley site or MS Word, MS Office. ठीक है, ये हो गया. And so I'm going to copy paste again these three things: control copy, control V, control copy, control V. You can literally copy, oh shit, control Z, Mendeley MS Office site, control copy, and control V, right? Take these three things, ठीक है, app to download, Mendeley web exporter extension, Mendeley site. And the good thing is they will ask you for an email and you have to interlink and connect those. You can do that easily. That's on to you. वो आप लोग कर लीजिएगा. And all of these three are interlinked. So how do you go about using these tools? So आपने article पढ़ा, ठीक है. How much time do we have? We have sufficient time. We go to the article. Why is it not opening? Please open. Thank you. Imposter syndrome, a burnout among American medical students, a pilot study. I read the full text, the full open access journal, यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है, and I read. I'm like, I like it. There is something about American students that are that have a survey. I want to show this on my abstract, on my LTE, on my article. I'm gonna go here and I'm going to open. See this extension, नजर आ रहा है आपको? I'm gonna click on this. It's gonna ask me to sign in. Now I'm going to sign in. It's going to ask me for my email and my password. So I'm going to stop share for a few seconds. I'm going to log in. I don't want to show my password, of course. So it's logging in. It wants my email. I'll show you my email. No pattern. Email sabko pata hai already. I'm going to share 2002 @gmail.com. You can email me over here if you have any queries in the future, guys. Continue. Password मांग रहे हैं. So I'm going to stop share. Put in my password. My password is definitely not 1234. इतना पागल नहीं हूँ, ठीक है. अगर होता तो well कुछ और ही नहीं होता. अच्छा, signing in, ठीक है. Okay, it's signing in, loading up, right? So it's loading, and I'm going to now go back to share screen. Logging in. Okay, coming back. See, guys, so now you can see that it's loading, and it has loaded. Actually, it's still loading. 1 second. Guys, can you see my screen? 50. Perfect. Okay. So I'm back here. Okay. And now, as you can see, there are some references. Okay. I just simply went to Mendeley, and there are some add references to a collection, a file. This stuff you can figure out on YouTube. Honestly, this is not that important. What is important is that मैं इस website पे आया हूँ. This website by PubMed is particular imposter syndrome and burnout among American medical students. And I want to include this particular article into my library. Library क्या होता है? Library is where all of the references and articles are kept. ठीक है, sorry, my camera यहाँ पर नहीं, यहाँ पर. All of the articles are kept in this particular library for you to come back and reference and put this into your article. So I'm going to click on this. I selected this particular article. मुझे अच्छा लगा. I'm going to click add it to the demo file. और ये add कर देगा with the referencing and everything. You don't need to worry about it. Just click on add. So there are some other references. ठीक है, मैं आपको वो बाद में दिखाऊंगा. I'm going to come here and I'm going to click add. अब क्या हो गया? This has been exported to my Mendeley reference manager, जो वो application दिखाया था मैंने आपको, उस पर जा चुका है. Now I don't need to worry. Let's say I go back to another article, and let's say we go for this number 6, imposter syndrome and its associated with medical improvement facilities. Sure, let's go here. I like the article. I read it. It's cool. I have to get my publications out. So my case report. I like it a lot. Like, okay, let's add it to the particular article. Mendeley. I click on the Mendeley web extension, which is taking a bit of time to load. Sadly, I don't like that, but it's loading. Internet के थोड़े मसले हैं. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, so हो गया load. Now, as you can see, imposter syndrome and its associated factors in medical students in six Peruvian facilities. इसमें लिखा है PDF not found. Now, this article is from a closed access journal, and you might ask, यार अगर हम लोग को पैसे, we can't pay $15 or $16 again and again for one article, right? उसका भी मैंने आपको जुगाड़ निकाल के देना है. So I'm going to show you a way to go over that as well. So remind me to show you that as well. So I said, okay, let's add this as well. Now I have two references. Now let's say, okay, I said मैंने 3-4 ऐसे जमा कर लिए. I said, okay, I have all of those. I've imported them, ठीक है, into my reference manager. So this is the Word document, as you already saw. And now I'm going to launch up. I'm going to launch. Yeah, Mendeley reference manager. Now it is going to load, and hopefully it doesn't ask me to sign in again, or I'm going to lose it. So it's loading. ठीक है. You can see the screen, right, guys? अगर कुछ मसला है तो बता देना मुझे बीच में, ठीक है? Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of different articles over here, and I'm going to go to the collection that I've made. ठीक है, demo में आगे, ठीक है. So let's say मैंने article searching कर ली, hunting कर ली. I went on the web वाला extension पे, web export extension. मैंने article select किए, मैंने select किया, मुझे demo वाले फंक्शन मुझे एक add करना है, मैंने add कर दिया. Done, finished. ठीक है, that's all done. Let's wait. Guys, am I lagging for you, or is my screen not being shared by any chance? ठीक है, perfect. I think this is. I think the person who messaged me, I think is आपके internet का issue हो सकता है, so you can rejoin. Okay, these are the references that I have, ठीक है, and as you can see, there are all these different articles. मैंने जो 3 चीजें पढ़ना है, इसकी PMID identifier, just a lot of stuff. You don't need to worry about this. All you need to worry about is आपने यहाँ पे articles export कर दिया है, and that is literally all that matters. So let me just close this thingy up. Let's say ये मुझे अच्छा लगा, ये अच्छा लगा, ये अच्छा लगा, ये मुझे अच्छा. As you can see, there is a repeat of these 2 articles, so don't worry about that, ठीक है. So let's go to अच्छा, यहाँ पे सब कुछ जब एकदम export हो जाता है ना, then it is automatically going to connect with your MS Word वाला Mendeley site. So let's go to Mendeley site on MS Word. अच्छा, गलती 2 तो खुल चुके हैं. Okay, ये आ गया मेरा document MS Word का, ठीक है. And here is the demo file, and as you can see, मैंने imposter of American students वाला यहाँ पर आ गया है, ठीक है. And I want some more ones. So I'm gonna update this क्योंकि I think sync नहीं हुआ. So update from library in case you import files और आपने खोला हुआ, so update करने के लिए 2 मिनट लग जाते हैं. So I've updated this, ठीक है. And you can see, excuse me, मेरा pilot study वाला यहाँ पर आ गया, American वाला आ गया, imposter syndrome वाला आ गया. This is some other random article मैं उठा लेता. Peruvian वाला यहाँ पर आ गया. And let's say I want to now include the article. So let's now doing this. Now let's say मुझे ये वाला particular जो पहला वाला ना, imposter and its associated factors, I want to add it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to usually मैं जब मैं draft बना रहा होता हूँ ना, I usually put like 1 the number over here 1 just to highlight कि मुझे यहाँ पे पहला article का reference डालना है. And then when I'm back, ठीक है, मैं article लिख लिया and I've done my reference and I want to do my referencing. Let's say this is the article that I want to post, and I click on checklist, ठीक है, इसको checklist दबा दिया मैंने, and then I come over here. Now it's going to insert a number in a particular style, which I should actually tell you first. Sorry, I should tell you this first. So when you're referencing, ठीक है, referencing के अलग-अलग styles होते हैं. So if I go to citation setting, as you can see, यहाँ पे change citation style है. Now there are different citation styles that are accepted and generalized, ठीक है. Usually there is this thing called Vancouver style, जो कि for some reason यहाँ पे नहीं दिखाया हुआ. Why? No problem. I'll tell you later, ठीक है. So you can add something called a Vancouver style, ठीक है, which you can search on Google, मिल जाता है, and you usually publish in those particular बाकी ये Vancouver. this is the style that is usually accepted among journals, but it may vary from journal to journal. So you have to read their policies और आपको बता देंगे. So let's say I want to put a citation in the Vancouver. अच्छा guys, I think azan हो रही है. So we'll have a azan break, ठीक है? For 2 minutes, and this I might extend this session till 1:45 maximum, and then I think that should pretty much be it, okay? So just going to take a azan break. Okay guys, so we are back, okay? So we're back with the Mendeley wala part. Okay, I will repeat this entire thing one more time because I think some students are a bit confused about it, so don't worry about that. Like a very brief overview of it. So what have we done up till now? हम गए थे Mendeley के सिलसिले में. We had 3 applications. One was what? One. Okay, I'll just review everything up till now, then we'll continue. We had 3 Mendeley applications / extensions that that you should get for your, and it's free. So what do? You go first to Google, okay, and you type Mendeley Reference Manager and download. It'll take you, then you click on the first link that is over there and you download it. If you do not know how to download it, YouTube Bhaiya Zindabad, go to YouTube and I'll teach you everything. Number 1. Number 2, you go and you get this thing called Mendeley Web Exporter Extension, which is this one, which I just showed like a second ago. Let me just open it again. So this Mendeley Web Importer Extension, okay, you can get it from here. Then we go to the what do you call it? Where is it? Then you get the MS Word, the Microsoft Office के लिए you get the extension called Mendeley site. Google पे जाके type करेंगे, everything will be there. So you don't need to worry about that. Google या YouTube सब देख लें कैसे download करना है. But you can actually find how to do citation wala on YouTube as well. So then what we did, we said, अच्छा, let's do and find some articles. We saw some articles right over here on Microsoft Office. Sorry, not Microsoft Office, Google Chrome. And we're like, I like this article. Then we clicked on Mendeley Web Importer. This automatically popped up. We selected it and we clicked on add. तो हमारे वो library में चला गया था in Mendeley Reference Manager, ये application की तरफ चला गया था, ठीक है? So once that was done, we're like, इसमें चला गया. Now let's put it into the article itself. We go to Mendeley site, and then we click on this. ये छोटा सा हिस्सा खुल जाएगा, ठीक है? Then I was talking about the different styles of citation. If you want to know what the styles are, YouTube पे जा सकते हैं आप लोग, जो भी हो, क्योंकि YouTube पे जरूरत भी नहीं है. This is all on the journal की editorial policy. They will tell you कि हमें चाहिए American Sociological Association के format में, हमें चाहिए Vancouver के style में, हमें चाहिए APA जो American Psychological Association का है, इनकी तरह चाहिए. So let's say for the sake of argument, I do Vancouver style. And I'll show you how you can change it. So coming back, let's say I was writing the draft और मैंने यहाँ पे 1 number डाल दिया था कि मुझे यहाँ पे first वाला अपना article डालना है. So I go to the references वाला part here. I go to import. This is the first article that I want to include. I go to this. Check this, ठीक है? अच्छा, ये जब मैं number 1 मैंने खुद लिखा है, इसको हटा दो यहाँ से, ठीक है? So just delete this वाला part and then you click on checklist, ठीक है? And then you click on insert one citation. I've inserted one citation, right? So this I believe is in the format of fun. We can, so it depends on the article, ठीक है? So you can actually do a bit of research on. But I'll just come back to this later, fun, ठीक है? क्योंकि ये वरना ये references का थोड़ा momentum lose हो जाएगा, ठीक है? So coming back, wait, ये क्या हो गया? Sorry about that, guys. It's annoying me for a second. हाँ, चला गया. So मैंने वो add करना था and इधर एक छोटा सा add हो गया इधर in the different style that is there, and I chose American Association. Let's say I go to this Vancouver style उल्टा कर दिया हमने, and I want to, because I wanted to Vancouver, मैंने गलती से समझा American कर दिया and I want to change it. So what do? Go to citation settings, go to change citation style, click on Vancouver, update citation. ये हो गया, and as you can see मैं 1 आ गया यहाँ पे ना, खुद से ये मैंने लिखा नहीं है, बॉक्स में नया चीज आ गई है. Let's say next paragraph में जो जहाँ पे बीच in the middle of the paragraph, for example, let's say मैंने यहाँ पे reference article 2 different articles का, तो मैंने ये वाला ऐड कर दिया है. Let's say मुझे ये imposter syndrome है American वाला and this mild cognitive impairment. I want to add 2 references together. So I select 2, I click insert citation, and as you can see ये आ चुका है. And then obviously you can do a bit of grammar, then that's pretty much it. ये आपका citation आ गया. And I'll just repeat the exact same step again. I'll go to this Alex article, imposter syndrome, recent findings. Click on this, insert citation 5. So I get 5 references. ठीक है, मैंने 5 ऐड कर दिया, and they'll be added in the order according to this particular जो checklist है. That's all done. ठीक है. Now I go down, and in the references section of the article, I will references में लिख लिया, ठीक है, and then I'll go at the back, I'll go below. अच्छा मैंने यहाँ पे typo कर दिया फिर से. Refer. I'll just type it down again. So references, ठीक है. I go here, and now obviously जैसे मेरा आर्टिकल मैं आपको दिखाया था in the JPM वाला, बल्कि I'll just show you right now as well. Here is the article, ठीक है. यहाँ पे references में ये सब कुछ भी आ रहा है references में. So we're gonna add this part now, ठीक है. So going back, I'm gonna click on references वाला part. यहाँ पे मैं नीचे चला गया, ठीक है. And then I go to this 3 dots. Can you see these 3 dots, guys? I'm gonna click on this, and I'm gonna click insert bibliography. The references का simply put, that is the bibliography. And then your bibliography will be added to your cursor location. So I have to make sure मेरा cursor यहाँ पर सही जगह पर हो. Continue दबाऊंगा मैं, and here you go. My entire citation and everything has been added. Done. That is referencing. Khalas. Literally, that's literally it. Have all of you understood what I've just shown? Guys, समझ आया नहीं आया नहीं आया? Then we can be time for a constraint है, 10 मिनट से रहते हैं, and I need to show you a quick trick, ठीक है, before I end the session. You can click on YouTube as well. So नहीं समझ आया, WhatsApp जिंदाबाद, message me, ठीक है, we're gonna look at that. I'll help you out. Why not go to YouTube? YouTube is the best place to learn from. Yes, so absolutely लोग जो बच्चे पूछ रहे हैं कि ये order में होना चाहिए, yes, it has to be in order, ठीक है, and you can change that. How can you change that? Mendeley reference manager खोलो, जो आगे पीछे करना हो, it's pretty basic, ठीक है. It's gonna load up right now. Let me close this. ये वाला खुला हुआ है मेरे पास already, ठीक है. So I'm like, अच्छा, I want to include this, थोड़ा ऊपर करना है तो ये ऊपर ही हो जाएगा. आप इसको ऑर्डर कर सकते, चेंज नहीं हो रहा आपसे तो you can do the लंबा चक्कर कर सकते हैं, इसको हटा दें, and इसको हटाने के बाद फिर आप ऑर्डर में थोड़ा उसको रेफरेंस जो हमने सेव किया हो PDF in the web page, तो उसको ऑर्डर में ऐड करते रहे from the web extension, and that's literally it. अच्छा, this is something that workshops will not teach you, by the way. They'll be like, यार इस ऑर्डर में लिखा होता है, आप लोग बस एक एक करके नंबर सब टाइप करो, ठीक है, तो मसला हो सकता है. फराज मुमताज, you can literally go to YouTube anywhere, कहीं भी हो जाता है. The bibliography gets copied from links. Absolutely, everything is automated. You don't need to type it individually अलग-अलग करके, which is unnecessary ख्वारी, ठीक है. So that is Mendeley भैया, that is Mendeley done. And now coming back to PowerPoint presentation, because we're towards the end, ठीक है, I'm gonna make an announcement at the very end, ठीक है. अच्छा, एक और चीज I wanted to show you guys, ठीक है, before I end this session, before this session comes to an end. Let's say there are some articles जो कि आपको पढ़ने हैं, but they are behind a paywall. What does that mean? I want to read. I'm going to close Mendeley, ठीक है. I don't need this right now. So I'm going to here बल्कि close all of this, ठीक है. Closing this. I go to PubMed again, and I'm like, let's look at an article जो कि closed access journal में है. Can someone, if you want to unmute yourself as well, don't unmute yourself, just type what a closed access journal is. I want to see how much of you have like understood what it is. What is a closed access journal? Quickly guys, jilly. Readers have to pay the yep, it is paid by the reader, not the article, for which you have to pay. Good work Fiza, good Rabia, good work Mariam. ठीक है. अच्छा, so ठीक है, and you can't access paper with the share subscription. Good, that's very good. I like. अच्छा, I wanted to mention this. So if the more I see you interact over here, guys, on the chat box, the more likelihood is that I will give you some sort of a help in getting a publications. Okay, so be interactive, stand out, and अच्छा हो जाएगा. So let's say I go to the articles that I want to study. Okay, publisher doesn't have to pay. Good, publisher does not have to pay. Yep, perfect. Journal which is close to ourselves. Perfect. Some अच्छा answer here. Good. Now let's go to a random search strategy. Let's say I type this microaneurysms for some reasons. But let's go for thrombotic microangiopathy. And like, let's read this. So in a free articles are यहाँ पे. Some articles will be free for you, some will be paid. So for example, this looks like a paid one. यहाँ पे mention ही क्या free है. Syndromes for thrombotic wala, and it is written in 2017 March, right? So I'm gonna go here, I'm going to see full text article on Elsevier यहाँ पे जो था. It's going to load up. Yep, it's going to load up. ठीक है. It's loading. Internet खुदा की बात यार चल जा. Internet. Okay, so I think some people are still joining in. Sure, go ahead. So this is taking a bit more time to load than expected, but that's all right. I'm going to close PubMed because I don't need this. ठीक है. अच्छा, one thing. यहाँ पे नजर आ रहा है access through your institution. Dow Medical College has an access through some of for some articles, ठीक है, which you can get easily. We'll have to find that. I'll tell you that on campus. I don't think I should mention right now. It's not a big deal right now. So this is you have to purchase the PDF. नजर आ रहा है पैसे देने पड़ेंगे, but हम देसी हैं. We are desi people. We do not like to pay for stuff. भाई, there should जुगाड़ निकालो. जुगाड़ पाकिस्तान में हम जुगाड़ निकालती है. So we're not going to buy this, all right? That's not something that we're going to do. So there is this website called SciHub. See this SciHub? Yep, Isha Zulfikar, perfectly correct. SciHub. You go to this website, okay, and you click on this. It's going to load up. Okay, and I'm so sorry for you. So sorry, guys. Not sorry for you, sorry for me. I should be sad, but okay. Enter your reference. Okay. So what is this enter your reference? So remember, I बताया था शनाख्ती card of the unique ID that you get for each article. That is the DOI right here. Okay, I'm going to answer all the questions later, guys. Okay, right now I need to just focus on getting this done. So keep your questions for the end. Okay, so enter your reference. I'm going to click on Control V. Okay, ये हो गया, and then I click on open. When I click on open, okay, as you can see, this कुछ funky चीजें चल रही हैं और कुछ loading चल रही है, and we got the article for free. That's it. That's it. Literally, that's literally it. तो जुगाड़ करो, जिंदगी में जुगाड़ करना है, ठीक है? So okay, now I want to give you a disclaimer, ठीक है? You read the article, ठीक है? हाँ, exactly. Mariam said it right now. बिल्कुल सही बात की है. SciHub sadly had क्या बोलते हैं, केस हो गया उनके ऊपर, and they had their lawsuit. They had a lawsuit filed against them, so they can only show you papers till 2021, not after. So no articles will be there after 2021. But uska bhi ek hal hai. There is a jugaad, a bypass for that. It's a bit more effortsome. You require a bit more effort for that, but that's perfectly all right. So what do you do for that? What you should do is that you can go to some forums. Okay? You can do three things. One, remember this thing that I showed you, access to institution. See which institution Dow has access to in terms of journals. Kuch journals ko access deta hai. Go ahead, find your Dow ki email, get access the papers, get the references, done. No money invested. Number two is that what you can do is you can contact research forums. Go on Google, type research forums, article papers, medical research facilities, LinkedIn, for example, or just some random forums. Okay? And just select these. So when you go to PubMed, you see, yaar, mujhe ye article chahiye tha, I could not find it. So you copy the DOI, paste it on the forum, and be like, guys, does anyone have the article, full article for this? Can you please send it? Highly appreciated, and whatnot. And you get the stuff done. You can get the article. The third thing that you can do is that you can get kya bolte hain, if you have friends in your batch, or if you have people in your batch too who already have access to these papers, or if they've bought it, or if they are affiliated to international institutions in any way and they have access to these, tell them ki bhaiya, I'm a batchmate of yours, don't be bhaiya, don't say that, like be casual and be cool, like I want this article and I've heard that you have an access to it. If you do, can you please send it to me? Highly appreciated, and that sort of stuff. And then you put in your referencing, Mendeley site, Mendeley reference manager, etc., and that's it. Khatam. Okay? So that is the jugaad part done. And I think that should conclude the main points of this entire meeting. I believe so. Let me just open the PPT and see that if I've not missed anything. Okay? Yep, it's all done. So, guys, how was this particular session? Now, everything that I've taught you right now should help you literally after this class, after this session. You can literally produce your own paper, but all you have to do is you have to read more and more articles. The more you read, the more LTs that you read, it will help you out. ठीक है, अच्छा मुझे announcement करनी है अभी थोड़ी देर में, ठीक है? I did not announce this, ठीक है? So Hoda Naeem, yes, you can. Usually you can select from the previous past 5 years, ठीक है? But that doesn't really matter a lot, ठीक है? And does not. And अच्छा, one more thing. Asad Ali over here, who's a part of Medical as well and is my senior, आपको तो पता ही होगा. He has just told me you can also contact the original authors for the paper. So each individual article, actually I'm going to extend this meeting to 1:45, ठीक है, maximum, और फिर we're going to end it, ठीक है. So let me just open the article again. हाँ, ये रहा. So as you can see, guys, ये रहा, ठीक है, मेरा article journal, ठीक है, ये रहा. And let's say this is a different sort of article जो कि यहाँ open access है. Let's say this was closed access, ठीक है. And you want to see कि यार you were not able to find the article for free, you want it for free. What do? See these names, लोग के नाम लिखे हैं सबके. You can contact these authors individually. So let's say I'm going to go here, roles and affiliations. So I can search this person up on PubMed. You can literally search authors on PubMed or anywhere. You can, for example, Avesh Nankani is a part, and you can see this ORCID ID. ORCID ID, I'll just give you a very big overview of what it is. ORCID, so we had DOI, which was each article's unique Shanakhti card, unique ID. The ORCID ID is another thing that is for you. It's like the Shanakhti card for an author, for a publisher. So Avinash Nankani, he's also a member of MedAngle. Literally, हम लोग MedAngle is heavy on research and USMLE and guiding you throughout, which is amazing. So he is affiliated to this university. ठीक है, उनका source ये रहा. You can see more details. You can see their contact numbers or and all of that sort of stuff, and even their emails. You can get their emails, send them a cold email. Assalamu alaikum, hello Avinash, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I just saw this article that you wrote. It's amazing. I read the abstract. I would like to know more. Is there any possibility that you can send me the full PDF for it? Or sometimes usually they do give you the article. If they don't, just try again from different people. हो जाता है, ठीक है? And yeah, that should conclude this entire session. So yeah, thank you for the comments, guys. Appreciate it. ठीक है, now I'm going to give you the announcements. ठीक है, I'll show you published examples because we're short on time. I already showed you Fatma Fakir and some of my examples, right? You can, I'll send you links to their articles as well. You can have a look at that. Mariam, you can create an ORCID ID. Yes, वो आप Google पे जाएं. Click on how ORCID ID बनाना है, ठीक है? They'll connect you to ORCID ID करना है आपको, बनाना है. आपके email लेते हैं, आपका वो email address, password, and that's literally it.